But first, the big news this week out of Washington has to be the coup on Capitol Hill. Republicans in Congress did something absolutely extraordinary this week. They managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory as 8 of their number launched what can only be described as a suicide mission. Their task, oust House Speaker Kevin McCarthy from the Speaker's chair. Their rationale? Well, your guess is as good as mine. Here's some exclusive footage I've obtained showing how it all went down. Oh, no, wait, sorry. That was Sideshow Bob stepping on rakes. The hair confused me, and I was thinking of this guy, Matt Gaetz. Here he is explaining the rationale behind his attack on the Speaker.
I don't think voting against Kevin McCarthy is chaos. I think $33 trillion in debt is chaos. I think that facing a $2.2 trillion annual deficit is chaos. I think that not passing single-subject spending bills is chaos. I think the fact that we have been governed in this country since the mid-90s by continuing resolution and omnibus is chaos. And the way to liberate ourselves from that is a series of reforms to this body.
And then there was this just after the vote.
To whose benefit? People have called you a narcissist. People say that is to your benefit alone. Is it to the benefit of you and to Donald Trump?
It's the benefit of this country that we have a better Speaker of the House than Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy couldn't keep his word. He made an agreement in January regarding the way Washington would work, and he violated that agreement.
Yeah, all right. Look, I get it. All of the stuff that Matt Gaetz is talking about is terrible. The national debt is a nightmare. The whole continuing resolution business to keep the country going is a scam. But, dude, what was the point of blowing up Speaker McCarthy? Let's think about the politics of what has gone down for a moment. At the start of the week, the Republicans looked like grown-ups. They were passing legislation, keeping the country going, imperfectly, I admit. And the Democrats? Well, one of their number, Jamal Bowman, a congressman from New York, he got in trouble for pulling a fire alarm in Congress to slow down voting on the Republicans' budget bill, like some high school kid who didn't study for his final exam. Insurrection-y much? Then, 72 hours or so later, this.
On this vote, the yeas are 216. The nays are 210. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. The office of Speaker of the House of the United States House of Representatives is hereby declared vacant.
And for the first time in, I think, ever, there's now no Speaker of the House, with no successor ready to assume the throne. Now, this has been portrayed by some as a great victory against the swamp. But I'm sorry. Not to use cheesy phrases, but politics is the art of the possible. You gotta be in it to win it, and a failure to plan is a plan to fail. The Republicans who teamed up to oust their own speaker may have thought that they were acting in the interests of cleaning up the whited sepulchres of Washington. And again, I get that they thought they were acting in service of a higher principle, to fight the slow bankrupting of American treasure through debt and corporatism and forever wars. If you've watched this program, you know I agree with them on that. But this thing here, this coup, this suicide mission, was all tactics, no strategy. And as a result, the Republicans are now damaged. The media has the cudgel it needs to brand the party as a band of irresponsible wreckers, and even if Trump or some other Republican wins next November, they've almost surely now lost the House of Representatives. Everything from the border to budgets gets kicked that much further down the road. And Matt Gaetz and company, well, they go down in history. Well done to all concerned. But While the Republicans may be in disarray, this is nothing new. The far bigger problem for the country and for Democrats, and by extension the whole world, is that every day Joe Biden is sliding further and further into an existential crisis. Seriously, what's with the fade out here as he tries to talk about what happened to House Speaker Kevin McCarthy?
I hope this experience for the Speaker has been one of a personal revelation. I'm not being facetious. Anyway.
And what's the deal with this vacant-eyed routine when the press gallery starts firing questions at him?
Started.
Mr. President, Kevin McCarthy on Ukraine funding. Mr. President,
Seriously, Mr. President, are you okay?
By the end of a governing crisis, it's time to end it. These constant, anyway, it would be good. Disagreement averts immediate crisis.
Anyway, look, I know we like to have a laugh about this here, a lot. Old Joe can't walk up a flight of stairs. He falls off his bike. And then there's that rumor about when he met the Pope. This situation, though, where the U.S. president increasingly looks like a figurehead controlled by other forces, including perhaps Barack Obama, is something that we haven't seen in the U.S. for more than a century. You have to go back to Woodrow Wilson, a Democrat who, by the way, some historians argue brought America as close to fascism as it has ever come with his attacks on the First Amendment, but that's another story. You have to go back to Woodrow Wilson to find a president ever being so incapacitated in office. Yes, FDR had his polio in his wheelchair, and JFK had his crippling back problems that, well, let's just say never stood in his way. But in October 1919, Woodrow Wilson had a full-on stroke and was incapacitated for the rest of his presidency. His wife basically ran things for him until the Republicans came romping in at the 1920 election. Will history repeat? Is history repeating? As the man said, we'll see.